Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about fears that you may develop over certain foods that are actually not bad for you because it's something that I experienced and I thought that maybe it might be helpful to someone out there that may be experiencing something similar or in a confusion at the moment. There's so much information, first of all, when it comes to healing the body, and I think that itself can be confusing. This is bad for eczema, this is bad for eczema, this is good, this is good. It's just like, okay, what do I do? So what I try to follow was, as you already know, a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. And for me, because I was not just changing my own diet, but also my family's diet, it was very important for me that it was non-restrictive and we were eating a variety of foods because I have two small children that are growing and nutrition is so important. So I never questioned whether whole food, plant-based lifestyle was going to be the right choice. That was not my question, but it was more to do with nightshades, soy corn, grain, fats. I think that's it. That's a lot. Those are the things that I sort of had to figure out what I was going to do in my healing journey. So personally, I don't have a known reaction to foods, luckily, so I was willing to eat variety, but there's so much talk about how soy is bad and corn is bad. As a Japanese person, soy is a big part of my life. I think it's easy for some people to just omit it if it's not something that you grew up eating, but for me, soy was always part of my dinner. As a Japanese person, to not eat soy is hard to imagine. And I wanted to make sure that we were consuming enough protein. So I really didn't want to eliminate from our diet. For soy and also corn, I always make sure they're organic and non-GMO because I know how they can be raised otherwise, and that can be harmful to the body. With nightshades, soy and corn, I did not eliminate. And also grains, that's another big thing in Japanese person's diet. So the thing that I reminded myself was that whole foods, whole plant foods are not something that made me sick or messed up my gut. I think it's important to remember for anyone that's trying to heal their body and having sort of trouble navigating through is to remember that drugs and steroids that you may have used and all these highly processed foods that are available nowadays for convenience and dairy and meat and things like that that are raised in a harmful way, I think are the bad guys and not the plant foods. So I think it's really important to have that right mindset when it comes to how you perceive foods. And it is easy to get influenced by the information that's out there. Soy is bad and all these things like nightshades are not good for the skin. And I think it's important to read up on things and educate yourself before you proceed. And of course, if you are reactive to those things, I'm not saying that you should eat them, but if you are reacting to them, it's not really the foods, but it's your body that's out of balance. Once your body heals, you'll be able to eat them. And another thing is the fat intake. I'm really glad that I learned about oils, and I don't regret cutting out oils because I learned that even like the olive oil and coconut oil that I used to think were healthy, they're actually not as healthy as you think because obviously it's not in the whole food form anymore once it's an oil, and it goes through a process, and once it goes through the process of becoming the oil that is, all the nutrients are stripped. So basically what you get at the end is pure fat. So when I learned about that, I was not sad to say goodbye. It did take a little bit of an adjustment, but I have not used any oil in my cooking for the past 2.5 years, and I haven't missed it. It's possible, obviously, to cook without it, and I think it's important to decide for yourself if that's something you want to continue consuming or not. That part of the information that I obtained in my healing journey was beneficial, but when it came to like eating the whole foods like avocados and nuts, it sort of play with my head, because I felt like around like 3 to 6 months into my healing journey, I was eating half an avocado and I felt like I would itch afterwards, and I thought that, oh no, am I eating too much fat? And then so I started viewing avocado, something that I really love, as enemy, and I sort of eliminated it for a couple months, and then I reintroduced, and I realized that it didn't trigger itchiness or anything, so I had no reaction. I'm not really sure if it was the avocado that I couldn't handle because my body was still healing, or if it was my perception of it that triggered the itchiness. If you're struggling to view whole foods as something healthy, I think it's important to remind yourself that those foods are not the ones that got you sick. It's the other things. So when I eat out, which is really rare, I try to cook at home as much as possible, but there are times that I go out with friends or we're on a trip and I consume oil. I stick to vegan foods, but I'm not going to ask the restaurants to not use oil. I'm not that crazy, so I consume oil, and in the past I felt like I would itch afterwards, and I feel like it was mainly because I viewed the food as something negative for my body, and it wasn't really the oil that was causing the itchiness, but it was more to do with my perception of it. So I try to enjoy the company, and I try to not think about that because it's very minimal. Whatever oil you're consuming from that one outing is not that much. So it's something that I've worked on to change my mindset. It's been working so much better, and I also do believe that my body's in a better place. So my body's just fine consuming oil here and there. So that's something I've tried to work through. So fats I don't get from oil, so I get it from nuts and seeds and avocados, and also coconut milk. I always consume coconut milk, so that's where I would get it from. And as I went further into my healing journey, like about 1.5 years mark, my body started wanting more fats. Sort of, I felt a little guilt initially, but then I wanted to listen to my body, and just gradually I incorporated more fats like pecans and walnuts and nut butters, and my body did fine. So I think you don't have to keep the fats to a minimal all the way through your journey. Like it's something that you can adjust as you go along. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. There's so much information out there, and easy to get this negative view of certain foods that are actually not bad for you. So I thought it was important to share my experience, and I hope it was helpful. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, or if you like to subscribe, please click the button. If you have anything that you would like me to address in my future videos, please let me know. If you're on a healing journey, I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.